If we weren't careful, we would think of today's gospel, the 10 lepers, the one who returns to give thanks, as a lesson in gratitude. I say that about being careful because, at least for me, gratitude still kind of carries the sense of being told to sit down and write thank you notes after Christmas presents, of feeling bad when I don't get thank you notes written or not in the time frame that Miss Manners or whoever writes these days in the New York Times would tell us to. Like there's a sense of politeness, of propriety around our gratitude, our showing of gratitude. And it would be sad if we let this lesson get caught up at all in our sense of what is appropriate etiquette or manners, because for sure that is not what Jesus is encouraging. I think we can talk about gratitude, but in the same ways we might talk about faith. That there's a relationship formed in the encounter with Jesus that changes our life. And it happens as we recognize what gift we are receiving and allow our lives to respond to that gift. Now, we don't do well with gratitude. As people, not just we're not good at writing thank you notes, we're not good at maintaining gratitude. Now, when your grandmother gives you $100, you are incredibly grateful, right? And you go and visit her, and you say thank you, and you tell her what all you're going to use the money for. But when your grandmother gives you $100 every week for 3 years, you don't even notice. You put it in your budget. You never say thank you. And it doesn't inform the relationship that you have with your grandmother, and it loses the context of the gift that blesses your life. Right? I had a good friend who was the first in his life, he's passed now, but he was the first in his family that had done well financially. And so, because he was able, he was helping out a number of his relatives with a monthly allowance. And as he got sick and knew that he needed to be sure to take care of his wife and his grandkids, he cut off those allowances. He explained what was happening. He was very ill. And he came and talked to me because he was so hurt and disappointed that they all got upset with him. Rather than be grateful for a lifetime of gifts that should still be transforming everything about how they live, they were upset that they lost what they had come to expect, to come to think that they had deserved. And we run that risk in our relationship with God. And that maintaining gratitude makes it possible for us to continue to value the gift and to be in an appropriate relationship with the one who gives us that gift. And you could say, oh, that would never happen to me. Except that God gives us good health day after day. And we rarely say thank you. But we sure notice the day that we feel sick, or the time when illness visits us or our family in a significant way. We're grateful for love and relationships, and yet we tend to take them for granted. And sometimes, because we don't enter into that relationship full of the gratitude that it deserves, they even spoil. And sometimes we lose the love, we downgrade the relationships that have been given to us in our lives. So gratitude absolutely is a value here. And it was that gratitude that let the Samaritan man enter into a relationship of faith and become a follower of Jesus. Absolutely. But there's something more happening here. Both in the first reading, Naaman, and now this Samaritan, they were outsiders and strangers. Naaman led the armies for Israel's enemy, a more powerful enemy at that. And Jesus finds himself wandering through the territory between Samaria and Galilee. That's both physically and spiritually a very tense place, right? That this isn't, there's no real space, right, between Galilee and Samaria, and yet there is. It's kind of the DMZ of ancient Israel. And in this demilitarized zone, maybe doubly demilitarized because all 10 of the lepers were outcasts on the edges of society, and so religion no longer had that power over them. Culture, they banded together in spite of their differences. But look, when they get healed, those tensions set back in. And this is also a story of outsiders becoming insiders, Naaman converting and joining the God of Israel, and the story of a Samaritan following Jesus. And it doesn't say that he stopped being a Samaritan. In fact, I'm sure Jesus sent him back to Samaria to proclaim the beauty and good news and love that had happened to him. And sometimes I wonder, we talk about proclaiming our faith, we talk about sharing our faith, we talk about evangelism, as if the goal was to get people to come to church. I'm all in favor of people coming to church. But Jesus didn't say, go get everybody to come and follow me. He says, go tell them about the Father's love that you have received. Let the encounters that show that love, which are encounters with Christ, in Christ through marriage, in Christ through friendship, in Christ through family and community and church, in Christ through our sacraments, to let the world know that the love that we have received redeems us, that it is grace, that it is love. And for us to receive love as gift and enter into a relationship of faith so that God isn't disappointed one day when we've stopped being grateful and stopped being in an honest relationship with him, and expect that all of the good and beautiful gifts that he gives us have become our right, when really they will always be his incredible gift.